I'm Judy Jernigan. Welcome to Cleary, Georgia. I'm founder and the team lead for the Sage+Grace Realty Group, and I'm here with Christy Kadoff.
Hello,
she just earned Rookie of the Year for the Sage+Grace Realty Group, and we could not be more proud. So where are you from?
I am originally from Chicago, Illinois, and moved to Georgia 2.5, almost 3 years now, which you know very well.
Why did you choose Georgia?
I chose Georgia mostly weather-related reasons, opportunity for different jobs for my husband and I, and just the ability to buy in Georgia versus the inability to buy in Chicago. Just the price to buy a home in Chicago is astronomical. And when you compare that to Georgia real estate, my husband and I were able to buy a home instead of continuing to rent and rent and rent in Chicago.
Okay. So paint a picture for me. You're sitting in an apartment in Chicago looking at a map?
Basically, and it was southeast.
Southeast.
We were looking at North Carolina, Georgia, Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So just driving distance, being able to still drive back up to Chicago if needed, but then only being about an 1.5-hour flight. So it's very easy to jump on an airplane and get here and get back to Chicago.
Yeah.
So that was a big perk too.
That is a big plus of the Atlanta airport, is you can get to lots of places really easily.
True.
Yeah. So when you, so how was your house hunting experience? Did you go to any other cities and look at homes?
No.
So you chose Atlanta. You said, okay, we're gonna go find.
Yes.
So you found me.
Yes.
And I got to take you and your husband out to look at houses. What do you remember about that time?
I remember you picking us up in your car, and we were going to multiple different homes that day and looking at different neighborhoods of Atlanta to figure out where my husband and I were going to land. Mm-hmm. And I remember him saying, Christy, you can't compare the Chicago neighborhoods to Atlanta neighborhoods. You can't say, oh, this is like Lincoln Park. This is the Lincoln Park of Georgia. Like, you can't do that. And because I was getting into my head of like, this is, making comparisons and so really it was trying to find the neighborhood that would be the best fit for my husband and I and our growing family. Mm-hmm. That was kind of we were looking at all the factors when choosing a place. But I remember specifically being picked up by you in the car, taking us everywhere. And then you had that knowledge of different areas, and you could say like, okay, this is a perk of this neighborhood, and this neighborhood has this event or festival or whatever it was. So we didn't know anything about the Atlanta area. So you did.
I do remember Eric had talked to some coworkers, your husband had talked to some coworkers, and they talked about some of the different locations too. So you all came in with some questions, some really good questions.
True. We had a tiny bit of background knowledge, and we had gone, so really it was, he got the job offer, he accepted the job, and then we had to figure out a place to live, and we were on a timeline. So we didn't want to move here and rent, we wanted to move here and buy. So that was the goal.
So we had one weekend, we saw as many homes as we could, we put in a few offers, a couple offers, nothing panned out. And then we were left doing some video tours, and you found your home from a video tour, right?
Yes.
How?
Yes. And I think hindsight is 20/20, but would I do that now, knowing what I know now? No. But it all worked out. And it worked out because you were here to see the place, and we trusted your opinion. We wouldn't have just trusted anyone's opinion. You gave your stamp of
the pressure.
This, I think this is going to work for you. And I think this is going to be a good place to call home. So we trusted you entirely.
Wow. You did get to see the home the day before closing, thank goodness, just in case you'd absolutely hated it. We could have figured something out.
Yes. Okay. And I mean, there were no it was just, yay, this is amazing. This is our new home. So 0 regrets, 0, yeah.
So I remember you telling me that your husband had a job here, and that you would find something once you got here, and I remember this vividly. You had absolutely no concerns about finding a job. You were like, you were in a profession that was in high demand.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing at the time?
So I was teaching special education at the time, and had just gotten my master's degree, and I knew that I could use my master's degree in the state of Georgia. And if I needed to be a teacher, because I couldn't get a job with my master's degree, then I would be a teacher. But I ended up using my master's in ABA and worked at autism clinics in Georgia.
Wow.
Until I decided to pivot.
Yeah. So tell me about when you first got interested in real estate and design.
Yeah. So I think probably right after we bought our home, I realized, it's a huge world and you made it look easy, but it's not necessarily an easy process for a lot of people. So I really love that piece of education and teaching others the whole process and the steps to take to get into a new home. And it's just, it's the ability to make money through real estate, like to build your wealth. How you do that is through real estate.
So for our listeners, you decided to get your real estate license.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I want to back up a little, just a few days. When you first called me, you had talked about, I guess you had your new home, you were just really into design and you're really good at it. And you were thinking maybe you want to do something with design or staging. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yes.
Do you still think about it?
Yeah, I think really, like, some people when they go into a home might not have the vision of this needs to be here and my couch would go here and this is where my desk would go. I think that you, as a realtor with that eye maybe for design, it's easier to go in and say, imagine your life with the couch here, and here's the bar cart, and here's the this and the that. So I think that that's only helped me help clients.
So we had a conversation, you were thinking you wanted to learn more about staging or perhaps offer staging services, or maybe you wanted to be a real estate professional and help people buy and sell homes. And do you remember what I told you? That
it would be very hard to do both.
Yeah. Some people I think maybe do, but those are both two full-time jobs.
Yes, and I did not know that before. I really thought it was more, real estate is a full-time job.
Yes.
Yes, and a good realtor is proactive and reactive and adjusts to what is needed in the moment. And sometimes there is no timeline for issues to arise.
And issues always pop up. Yeah, it's inevitable. So you decided to get your real estate license. So I'm sure there are people listening who have thought about that might be fun, or they may be thinking about a career change. You want to just walk us through quickly sort of what are the steps involved in case anyone doesn't know?
Yeah, so I think initially, and what I would recommend is find someone that is willing to be your mentor even before you start the class. Someone that you can ask questions and figure out kind of the best route. I reached out to you, then you sent me a recommended course to take to get my license. And that was, I was able to do that pretty quickly. And then the real learning takes place the second you get your license and you have a client. That's when the learning takes place. But you have to have a mentor in your corner to really help your clients to the fullest level.
So you take a class. It's 75 hours.
75-hour class in the seat. Then you have to pass your class exam and then your state exam and national. So there's a lot of info on that, how to cram for the state test, etc. But once you pass those two tests, then you would find a managing broker to hang your license on the wall.
Yeah.
And from there, then you're hopefully hitting the ground running and meeting clients and starting to learn what is necessary to be successful in the business.
So you moved to a new state. When you got a new job, then you did a pivot and you started a brand new career. And then another milestone came along.
And then I had a little baby boy.
Yay!
So I have a son, Owen, he's 5 months old. And because we live right on the Beltline in Atlanta, we are able to hop right on. I've got the stroller. We go right to Piedmont Park and we go left to Pond City Market, all the way up to Krog. So we are on the Beltline all day long. And it's great when visitors come. They know their way around the city. They know how to get everywhere because they take that Beltline around. So it was easier to transition to Atlanta and where we are from Chicago, because Chicago is such a walkable city. To here, I kept saying I would feel landlocked if we weren't in a walkable area. And so this was like the perfect middle ground of Chicago where we were to Atlanta.
Do you spend much time in Piedmont Park? You're right by the park.
Spend a ton of time in Piedmont Park. We'll bring our badminton set that's portable. We'll set up our son.
Oh my gosh, I want to come play badminton with y'all. That is so fun.
Oh yeah. We'll walk over to Park Tavern. We'll Botanical Garden. I actually do a mom's walk every other week with new moms in Piedmont Park.
I love that.
I lead the walk, show them the beauty of Piedmont Park, especially for people that aren't familiar with the park. We'll do a whole walking tour, get to connect with brand new moms, and it's probably the highlight of my week.
You lead the tour?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yay. That's wonderful.
Yes, very fun.
What are some of the Beltline, if people aren't familiar with the Beltline, can you just describe it a little more?
Sure. The Beltline is a trail that goes around Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, like a belt. And I don't remember if it's 26 miles. I think maybe even more than that. But there's developed sections of the Beltline, and then there's like gravel trails, paths of the Beltline. And over time, the city is taking certain sections and building them up and paved and bike lanes and the whole bit. So we are lucky enough to live in the area. It's the East Side Trail, and it's very built up. Bars, restaurants, breweries, food halls, and we utilize a lot of those businesses.
So fun.
Yes.
What about like Pond City Market you mentioned earlier? You can totally walk there. Do you ever go there?
We do, yes. Because they have shops on the ground floor too. And so, for example, we'll go to like Madewell, and then, oh darn, we're hungry. We want a little snack. So then we go inside, have a snack, and it's easy. You don't have to be in a certain restaurant. So now with our 5-month-old, it's easy if he's not happy with sitting at Ponds. Mm-hmm. Then we can easily get up, go. Mm-hmm. We're not waiting on a check. So
mm-hmm.
It's been nice.
Tell me about Krog.
So Krog Street is also, it's very nice, just a little bit further in Inman.
You know what I've always thought would be fun is to do a progressive dinner at Krog Street Market, like to go to one place and get an appetizer, another place for an appetizer, another place for an entree, another place for dessert. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So
I have trouble deciding.
Yeah, we'll go there and get the goose dumplings.
Oh, they're the best.
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
So
they really are the best dumpling.
And then they've got a little liquor store right there, some craft beer, and it's a great dinner.
Mm-hmm. You're right, everything you need, and then some.
Yes.
So Atlanta is like a city of festivals. Have you found this? Your little boy might not be old enough, or even,
Yeah. Well, in particular, the Virginia Highland community, it's a ton of festivals. So Summerfest, there's Porch Fest, there's Winterfest, and with all those, there's like the 5K in the morning, and then like Porch Fest is pretty popular, where the porches are chosen in Virginia Highland. So you could be the chosen porch, and then you have bands on your porch all day. And so then, and you can go to any porch that have the bands, and there's quite a few at a time. So you just go from one porch to the next. Food trucks, it's a great time.
I have not done Porch
Oh,
Fest. Yes.
Please do.
So do you hang out like in the front yard where people are, and then the band's on the front porch?
Yeah.
That's
People
fun.
just,
How creative is that?
you just bring your lawn chair if you want, and you just sit on their grass, and you're with all your neighbors. So it's nice. And if you haven't met your neighbors, that's a great way to meet your neighbors.
Yes.
So we have family come in for Porch Fest every year just because it's so much fun.
When is it? Do you remember?
May,
Right,
like
okay.
May 21st or 14th, I think it depends.
So putting it on my calendar.
Yes, please.
So you have your little baby boy, and you also have a fur baby, Clementine.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
feel like talk about how dog friendly of a city you have found Atlanta to be?
Yes, very dog friendly. Of course, like the Beltline, she loves Beltline. She knows where the Beltline is. We'll have guests over that want to walk her, which is so nice. Well, she leads them to the Beltline. Like, they might not know their surroundings.
Don't worry, Clem will show you the way.
She will pull you to the Beltline.
I love that.
So if I ever have a guest that's out alone with Clem, I know that she'll get them there and she'll get them home. So yes, she loves being out and about. You even like Ladybird on the Beltline. It's all dog friendly. So we take her there quite a bit. And then so many, even Piedmont Park has a beautiful dog park. So we go Fetch too. Fetch
In Brookhaven.
In Brookhaven.
I mean, I'm sorry, it's in Buckhead.
In Buckhead. Well, there's Buckhead. There's all throughout the city. So we'll do that as well. So
Okay.
she's very happy to live in Atlanta.
So how are you all like in the weather? Is it when you moved here, what were some of the things that indeed you were like, yes, this is everything we hoped it would be? Like the weather is really pretty. Or what are some things that might have surprised you that weren't as you expected?
February, like yesterday, I had Owen outside on a little play mat on the deck in 60-degree sun. That is not possible in Chicago. So I always say it's like those buffer months of February, March, April are beautiful here. And then October, November, even into December are beautiful in Atlanta. So if you're saying, oh my gosh, it's so hot, the summers are horrible. Yeah, Midwest, you also have a really brutal summer too with humidity. It's those buffer months that are really, my husband and I always say, it's the buffer months, that's why we moved.
The buffer months.
Yes.
I've not heard that. I like
I'm trying to think, I don't want to scare off people too much. Bugs are different.
Bugs are different, yes.
Although, like, we have like centipedes in Illinois.
Okay, yeah.
Which is gross. But I'm like used to that, right? Like it's whatever. Here in Atlanta, the roaches, not a fan of those.
Some people call them water bugs.
Oh, that's a nice way to say
It's
it.
like a euphemism, I think.
Yeah, that was a big adjustment for me.
Yeah, I don't like them either, but I don't know if I'd care for centipedes either.
No.
Oh, interesting. That's funny.
What was it again?
So you had just moved to Atlanta. It seems like you're doing a great job meeting people, leading your mom's group.
Yes.
Any suggestions for folks on how to meet people?
I would say, you really need to step out of your comfort zone. And I would say maybe the first year of being here, I was not willing to do that as much. And now, since having a baby, realizing how important it is to have a community, people that actually understand what it's like to have a new baby, and everything that comes with that next chapter. And so I joined a mom's group, and we started just going to different churches, kind of try to find our church that we're happy with. So So those are the two things that I've done this year in the last 6 months. Different.
I know your husband likes to get to know the neighbors.
Yes, he does. Yes.
That can be a way to just feel more at home in a new place too. I think it's smart.
Yes. I will say one thing that surprised me about moving to Georgia is you really have neighbors that are welcoming.
Yeah.
And I would not say that in Chicago it's the same vibe. So when we moved here, we had, I think it was 3 different neighbors come up and introduce themselves, and either baked goods or flowers, whatever it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just to have a support system, knowing that they're looking out for our house, we'll look out for their house. That was huge, and something I did not expect was people to be knocking on my door that I did not know.
Yes.
So that was a pleasant surprise about Georgia.
Perfect. Atlanta is a big city with all the pros and cons that come with that. Southern hospitality is alive and well in many ways, and I just love that.
Yes, I've heard people say that Atlanta is a small town, big city. Do you agree with that?
Small town, big city.
Like, people know each other.
Yeah, people do know each other. Yeah, all over. Of course, and it also we have our neighborhoods.
Yes.
And people have a strong sense of community, just of the term school spirit comes to mind, but for their neighborhoods.
Definitely. I agree with that. People are very proud to be living where they live. I agree.
And if you don't like one part or one neighborhood in Atlanta, you know what? That's fine. There's so many others, and they all have their different
feel. And they each have their different flair.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. Definitely pride and ownership.
So between you and your moms groups, you know lots of other moms and new moms. How are you all finding going back to work? How's that feeling? How's that going?
It definitely takes a lot of people and supporters to make it happen. And I will say just having even a tiny bit of flexibility in a work day is huge. And being able to work different hours. A lot of real estate is nights for showings after work, and it's a lot of weekends. And so capitalizing on those times, you're able to do a little bit more so in real estate.
Yeah. We have people who work 9 to 5 jobs Monday through Friday. They want us to come talk with them about selling their homes on nights and weekends.
Exactly.
They want to see homes that they might want to be moved into in nights and weekends. So, we do have some flexibilities with our schedules, but we also work
around the clock.
My son recently has said, I don't ever take a day off, which sort of breaks my heart a little bit. But I said, no, that's not true. We just got to go on vacation, and I get to pick you up from school every day. I put him to bed almost every single night. I have the flexibility to be there for his school had a little Valentine's Day party, and I got to go be a part of that. I didn't have to be. I'm not stuck behind the desk 9 to 5.
Exactly.
I have the flexibility to go be part of his school party or whatnot. But we do work a lot of nights and weekends, and sometimes it can seem like we don't get a day off. Yes,
but he's also seeing you work and the value of hard work, and you're modeling that. So
my son is goes to a preschool full time every day. I could drop him off as early as 8, pick him up as late as 6. Actually, I could drop him off even earlier. I don't, but it's a long day for him.
It is.
But he really enjoys his teachers and being around other children, and and they have playground time, and they have classroom time, and he's learning a lot, and he's learning good social skills. And
he's so smart.
I think that hopefully the transition to kindergarten next year will be won't be too hard.
Yay. Yes.
There is a little bit of guilt there that sometimes that I'm not spending all day with him.
Yes.
But I got to do that during the pandemic, and let me tell you, there was some moments that I will treasure, that I got to spend that time with my 1-year-old at the time. But man, those days were long, and I know that he is learning so much more from his teachers and other classmates than he would if he was home with me all day, every day. Like, neither one of us would actually enjoy that. I don't think. He's way too curious and energetic for me to keep him occupied.
Yes. But nice to have the ability
Yes.
to, let's say, that first year, have more flexibility with your schedule.
Yes.
And then when you want to ramp it up, you ramp it up. So if you even have, let's say, a month where you're like, okay, let's get going. You know, you do have kind of the ability to do that, which I don't take for granted.
Yeah. Today we got to get to know Christy Kadoff a little bit better. She just earned Rookie of the Year for Sage+Grace Realty Group. We are both proud partners with Cleary Real Estate. You've been listening to Clearly, Georgia.